Welcome back now. If you're just joining us, this is still the POLITY and we're reaching live from the Abuja studios of Kaftan TV. Famine looms in parts of Gaza as Israel's war on the besieged territory enters its 6th month. The United States and the European Union have revealed plans to send aid and supplies. The US and some EU members have also supplied weapons to Israel. The big question now is, will these new initiatives help Gaza? In this segment of the program today, we will try to get answers to these questions. And joining me is the Palestinian ambassador to Nigeria, Abdullah Abu Shawesh. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's good to have you on the program. And, you know, we are here now in the 6th month of the conflict between Israel and Gaza. Just for the sake of our viewers who may not have a very deep overview of what exactly is going on, we want to get a summary of what the situation is between Israel and Gaza at this material time.
Okay, thank you so much indeed for having me again. And I should start by making some correction, because the narrative wording have a meaning, and it's very important for us as a diplomat, as a politician, to say that, to put the word in its exact meaning. When you start by saying conflict between Israel and Gaza, this is from our point of view, of course, and from the logic perspective, of course, this is completely not the exact wording, so to speak. So that this is not conflict, this is a war, and this is a pure war. Okay. This is a pure war, and this is a war Israel launched, it's supported by the United States of America and the Western country against the whole entire Palestinian people. Again, this is not conflict between Israel and Gaza. This is a war, an Israeli war, launched by Israel, fully supported military and political support. Israel have total political and military support from the United States of America and many of the Western countries against the Palestinian people. And I can explain why. If this is a war between Israel and Gaza, how could you explain that more than around 500 Palestinians was killed since at the very last 6 months in West Bank, where there is no Hamas and no one is fighting against Israel there? Second, if this is a war between Israel and Gaza, how did you explain, and what is the explanation of more than 7,000 Palestinians was arrested and jailed in the Israeli prison and the prison campaign from West Bank? So that this is a war launched by Israel long time ago. It's not a war that just erupted 6 months ago. This war was established even 106 years ago, since the issuing of the notorious Balfour Declaration 1917, when the United Kingdom itself issued this declaration. In this declaration, the United Kingdom, which did not have even at that time the mandatory power over the historical land of Palestine, promised our historical land to the foreigner, to the European Jewish. At that time, the United Kingdom sowed the seed for this war, so the seed for this evil issue that we are facing it. But again, this was not the first. This was the first point, so to speak, if you want to go to the history. But even this war was launched by the foreigner, the Jewish foreigner gangs, Lehi and other gangs before 1948, when they succeeded to expel and to conducted many massacres against the Palestinian people. And any one of you can Google just Deir Yassin massacres, King David Hotel massacre, to find how many massacres they conducted against the Palestinian people. But again, unfortunately, we did not have the chance as a Palestinian to tell our story, so that they succeeded with the Zionist propaganda supported by the Western media, succeeded long time ago to give or to brainwash the whole entire world about our narrative, to tell only one part of the story, which is the Israeli story, to tell their part or their point of view, but we denied this right to tell our story. So that this is not a conflict again, this is a war launched by Israel against the whole entire Palestinian people.
Thank you very much for your submission. You've said quite a lot, and I'd like to take you back to where you started from, where you said this is a war launched by Israel against the Palestinians,
the entire
Palestinians, supported by the United States and the
fully supported, not supported.
But then, don't you think these allegations are, far-fetched at this point, considering the fact that just recently the European Union and the United States, they've been making efforts to provide humanitarian aids to back to the people in Gaza. And just over the weekend, I'd like to quote what President Biden said over the weekend, where he drew a red line for Israel. And according to him, he said the Israeli leader Benjamin Netanyahu is hurting Israel more than helping Israel in how he has conducted the war against the Palestinian terrorist group Hamas in Gaza. Mr. Biden said Israel must take greater care to protect civilians in Gaza. He also made clear that an Israeli attack on Rafah would be unacceptable. From the records on ground, Rafah is more like a place where civilians are taking refuge at this moment. So if you say that this is a war on the Palestinian people, supported by the United States and the European Union, how do we
continue.
So how do we juxtapose these two scenarios when you say the war the Israeli forces are supported by the United States, and the United States are also making frantic efforts to provide humanitarian aids to the Palestinians?
Thank you so much. Indeed, I did not say by the European Union, by many Western countries.
By the Western
mainly
countries.
the main sponsor of this war is the United States of America.
So
yes, I'm coming.
Can you state in clear terms, the moves by the United States, the efforts by the United States, that you can say these are pointers to the fact that Israel are getting, sponsorship from the United States?
I'm very clear. This war is fully sponsored by the United States of America. When it came to the military aid, military ammunition, it's made and provided by the United States of America. We are talking about, this is the, I think in Washington, one of the American newspaper just recently issued a report talking about more than 100 weapons deal or weapons support for Israel during the last 6 months. Just the American weapons support to Israel. America used 5 times the veto power in the Security Council to prevent to prevent any resolution that can put an end to this atrocity and this slaughtering of the Palestinian people. America is supporting Israel, fully supporting Israel with not only the political arena, but also when it came to all ammunition, all missiles and all of these stuff that killed and razed Gaza. It's made in America and it's for free from the American. This is a factual speak. I'm not telling you something out of my mind. But when it came also to the what did President Biden mention, the red line. Red line after 30,000 Palestinian. He finally acknowledged that there is 30,000 Palestinian, innocent Palestinian, one was killed. You put the red line after 30,000 Palestinians to be killed, then he backed from his red line, just to make the issue very clear. Then when it came to the humanitarian aid, they dropped so far, I understand to be corrected, 38,000 food meal. But what we know, parallel to each one of these meals, they dropped or they supported Israel, they benefit Israel, they gifted Israel 1 ton of explosive material. So that for each one meal that they provided to the Gazans from airdropping, they provided Israel with 1 ton of explosive. We did not want their this type of support. Just what we are calling for is to stop providing Israel with any type of ammunition, any type of explosive materials that raised and killing the Palestinian people. This is the only aid that but we are calling the United States of America and the President Biden to do it. But otherwise, we know that they are throwing the ash in our eyes, in their street eyes, because you know that he is facing a lot of difficulties in the upcoming election. So that he want to manipulate, he want to tell the Muslims and the Palestinian supporters, which is millions in America, that I'm here for the Palestinian people.
That's quite big of a statement you just made there by trying to attribute President Biden's recent efforts to his political ambition. Well, no, he's seeking a re-election into the U.S. presidency. But then, at this point, I still want to. You haven't really touched on my question. If we say the war is, USA stands as the major, supporter of Israel during this conflict, how do we just oppose the fact that they are supporting Israel, and on the other hand, they are also providing humanitarian aids for affected areas in Palestine? How do you bring these two scenarios to meet halfway?
First and foremost, I'm not the only one who's talking about when it came to this war. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only rational one who's talking about that the United States of America is supporting Israel. The United States of America is the sponsor of this, the main sponsor, or the main supporter for Israel in this war. So that this is not my opinion. This is any rational political commentator gonna tell you that this is fact. We are not talking about issue, and they are talking about this issue. Day and night they are talking about this issue. But again, when it came to the humanitarian issue, I make a comparison between each one meal that they are airdropping for the Gazans people, comparing with 1 ton of explosive material.
So now, if there's each meal they are dropping for the Palestinians, they are dropping 1 ton of explosive, more than 1 ton of explosive materials.
Beside also the political support to the Israel.
So now, first of all, how do we verify these claims? How do we verify these claims?
I'm telling you, I verify what? You need evidence that they are providing Israel with them. They are day and night claiming that they will not stop providing Israel with the ammunition. Before the end of the last year, only before the end of the last year, Antony Blinken himself was allow or facilitate a deal with $147 million, just some specific type of ammunition, not the explosive one, the startup of the explosive one. This is something, factually speaking, the United States of America is providing day and night, providing Israel with the ammunition, and you can go to many reports on was published in the media talking about this issue, and the Israelis themselves publishing many times in their social media about the weapons that came and imported from the United States of America. I'm not telling you something is not all the weapons.
Okay.
Or all the missiles that used in the airplane is made in America.
Okay, very well then. We'll take a short break now. When we return, I'm going to be opening our phone lines for our viewers to call in and also make their contributions. Don't go anywhere. The show will be right back.
We're going to release 100,000 cartons. Sugar, we're going to release 100,000 bags. We have branded masks, 100,000 pieces. We have branded blankets, 100,000 pieces. We have shirt that is main clothing. We have 100,000 pieces. women wrappers, we have 100,000 pieces. Children wears, another 100,000 pieces. The other thing we are doing to encourage people to go back is empowerment. The thing is, most of the people who left their home were either farmers or doing a single job. So they are pushed back to the cities. The only way they go back is when they're empowered. Not necessarily with what we were doing before, but even new skills. So we are doing a lot of things. Like those of you who have been in those things in the last 3 weeks, you can see that we are training women in the use of safe store. We are training people in scavenging, how they can combat crashes into wells, and so on and so forth. So all these things are the compartments of how we want to make sure that people go. Some people might not go back again because they're used to the village life. But the thing is, how will they stay in the city?
This is still the Polity, and we're still reaching you live from the Abuja studios of Kaftan TV, and this is to let you know that our phone lines are now open. You can now call in to make your contributions and also ask your questions. You have 60 seconds. But before you do that, ensure you turn down the volume of your TV set or you move far away from it before making the phone call. Back to our discussion, and we'll be going over to the plans by the UN. Okay, I'll just read an excerpt for you here before my question. UN says famine is almost inevitable in Gaza as children are starving to death. Elsewhere, the EU has said they are opening a maritime corridor to provide shipment of food to Gaza. Considering the situation of things in Palestine right now, is building a seaport a solution to the hunger crisis in Palestine right now?
I think it might help, but this is not the solution, because and the airdropping is not the solution, and this is because we use Gaza in need of approximately 500 trucks per day before the war itself. Now with the war, with the devastating famine that is erupted there, with the hunger that the people is suffering, and with the medical supplies, the shortages of medical supply and all of this destruction, I think some estimating that we need, our Gaza need at least 700 to 800 trucks per day. When it came to the airdropping itself, even if you will collect all the airplanes from Egypt, Jordan, and many other places, they will not satisfy or will not replace the entering of the trucks. Regarding the seaport or issues like this, I think still, because we are talking about it need 2 months to have this seaport working efficiently. Are we able in Palestine to suffer another 2 months? How many babies will be died in the upcoming 2 months? You know that, and I can assure you that more than 15 babies so far was infant babies was died due to the short of their specific needs. So that, are we able to wait till another issue? Will this war will continue another 2 months? Is there a plan? They know that there is a plan from Israel, agreed plan by the American and many other European countries, that this war will continue another 2 months or 3, 4, 5 months ago, so that they will build a seaport. The other issue, will the seaport be replace the 700 or around 700 trucks that we or Gaza needed in desperate need in a daily basis? Will this be efficient to replace it, or just something to say that we are here? There is another solution, which this other solution is to put some real pressure on Israel to stop this war, to put some real pressure on Israel to stop this genocidal, textbook genocide, to put pressure on Israel to allow the humanitarian aid to enter from the five crossing gate from which is between Israel and Gaza itself. Let me just assure you that there is another tens of tons of flowers is still stuck in Ashdod Air seaport in Israel, and just it need some pressure for one minister of them, which is the Minister of Finance, to allow this to enter.
But then there are talks of the Israeli forces wanting to inspect this.
They can inspect it. Everything entering Gaza is already under inspection. Everything, even before the war.
I also want to take you back a bit. When you talked about the fact that the Palestinians are not able to wait for another 2 months, for the seaports to be ready. How about what then is the place of the temporary ceasefire
and the question is, we have two things very important, because everyone is talking about ceasefire. When you talk about ceasefire, this means that Israel is fighting against another army, very forceful army, very strong army, and this is completely not true. There is a war launched by Israel, and there is some Palestinian fighter is trying to resist, to some extent to resist, but they did not even doing anything or harm the Israeli at all. So that there is a war launched by Israel. What we need is to Israel to stop this war, not to talk about ceasefire. Ceasefire between two countries, two armies, this is not true on the ground at all. This is not true. When it came to the ceasefire or a humanitarian ceasefire, why you are talking, or why many is talking about a humanitarian ceasefire? Is this mean that when the human will, when the Gazans will fill their stomachs, they will back to fight again, or they will back to another battle, another round of the war? We need to talk about one-shot solution, one and forever, not ceasefire. Israel should stop the war, and this is the very important. But talk about ceasefire, this gave the impression that Israel is fighting against another army, which is completely not true.
Now, you've talked about one-stop solution, a solution that will, end the war once and for all. And one thing that has been on the cards for a very long time, it's the talk of a two-state solution, and part of what it states is for the Palestinian to be recognized, for Palestine to be recognized as a country, as its own sovereign country. But then this resolution of a two-state of this two-state resolution idea has been on the cards for a very long time, and it doesn't look like it's coming to fruition in the nearest future. What are your thoughts on this? What are the major setbacks that this talks of two-state solution has been encountering, that has made it look so impossible? Because during the time of Barack Obama, there were plans to kind of see that the two-state solution comes into being, but it never happened. What are the major obstacles at this point?
Great, very great question. The two-state solution, everyone talk about it as if it is the invention of President Obama, or a new invention. The two-state solution is very old invention.
No, I'm talking about
but we want to back to the essence, because you ask a very essential question, very important question. What is the obstacles for the two-state solution? Let us back to the essence of the two-state solution. When you go back to November 29, 1947, the United Nations General Assembly issued the resolution 181. In this resolution, they the partition plan of Palestine. In this resolution, they gifted 55% of our historical land, Palestine, to the new arrival Jewish, to the Jewish gangs at that time. And in the same exact resolution, they appointed to us 46% of the historical land of Palestine. For the 46% to build our state, and on the 56% for the Jewish to build their state on it. When you back, legally speaking, to this resolution, this is the birth certificate of the two-state solution at that exact time, 76 years ago. This was there. So that the two-state solution is not a new invention. But unfortunately, they succeeded at that time. The Jewish gang succeeded to expel the Palestinian people, to occupy 25% more than from the historical land of Palestine, more than the part that was designated by this resolution to them. Instead of 54%, they occupied, they conquered 78% of the historical land of Palestine and declared the establishment of state of Israel at that time. So that back to the history, the birth certificate of the two-state solution is a long time ago is there. Just the issue
years ago.
in November 29, 1947, the resolution 181. Anyone can.
That's the resolution 181. That's about 76 years ago. Now, do you think a resolution that was made in 1947, don't you think for it to be effective right now, just to put a final end to the war, do you think it's important for it to undergo a review, possibly make some additions or subtractions for it to be able to move with the present realities of things between the two countries?
I'm coming. Just I would like I clarified the issue of the essence of the roots of the two-state solution, because everyone is trying to say as if it is something very new invention. No, the two-state solution again is, or the certificate of the state of Israel is have in the same exact birth certificate another twins, Siamitic twins of which is the state of Palestine at that time. But the reality is a change, and we know that, and we realize that, and we have no problem in that. And when we sign Oslo Accord, we accept to establish our state in only 22% of our historical land of Palestine. This is very important. When it came to the compromise, the Palestinians gave the ultimate compromise. Can anyone give it? No one can give like compromise likewise the Palestinian gave. But again, when it came to the two-state solution, any two-state solution, first and foremost, Israel should recognize the right of the Palestinian people to self-determination. This is a principle. If you agree that the Palestinians should have a state, this means that they have the right to self-determination. If this is the case, you should recognize their right to self-determination. Every year in the General Assembly, we have a resolution called the Palestinian right to self-determination. Israel and the United States of America and some other countries did not recognize and voted against it, which means that Israel, first and foremost, did not recognize our right to self-determination. This is fair. The majority of them, the majority of the Israeli politicians, is day and night, part of them is completely denying the existence of the Palestinians. They did not recognize, they did not believe that we are existed as a Palestinian people. So that since more than 76 years ago, they are fighting the ghost. We are not existing at all. Benjamin Netanyahu, the current prime minister, day and night declaring that he is opposing and against the two-state solution, and there will not be any issue called the state, Palestinian state between the Mediterranean Sea and the Jordanian River. So this is the obstacle, political issue. But in the ground also, they did not stop building settlement. And when it came to the place that we're gonna build our state on it, which is West Bank, Gaza, and East Jerusalem, we start the peace process with approximately 200 settlements. Today we are talking about double the amount of the number of the settlement in the occupied Palestinian territory, triple the amount, the numbers of the settlers themselves in
mass housing units built by the Israeli government.
Yes, they did not stop building, occupying, confiscating the Palestinian land in West Bank. So that if you are really interested or really want to see the two-state solution as an Israeli government, you should stop first and foremost the building and expansion, building a new settlement and expanding the existing settlement, and start dismantling those settlements, which is completely, even the Americans themselves, they and night saying that this is against the international law. So that when it came to the two-state solution, we are ready, but the other part is not ready.
Okay, but then when it comes to this two-state solution, you just declared that the Palestinians are ready. But then you talked about it from the angle of the external factors that are affecting the two-state solution. But now let's take it internally to the Palestinian government. In the year 1988, there was an excerpt that read, Israel will exist and will continue to exist until Islam will obliterate it. And in 2017, there was an Hamas charter that tentatively accepts the idea of a Palestinian state within the parameters of the solution. It also said it will refuse to recognize Israel as a state. If we take a very good look at this, we would see that it feels like the Palestinians are not speaking in one voice. So internally, what do you think? What would you say are the drawbacks to the actualization of this two-state solution internally?
Great, and another very great question. Indeed, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, PLO, is the sole and legitimate representative of the whole entire Palestinian people, which is recognized even by the even by Israel itself. When we signed Oslo Accord, it was signed by the PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization, the sole and the legitimate representative of the Palestinian people, and the government of Israel. So when we talk about the peace process, there is an ahead for the Palestinian people, legitimate and sole representative, which is the PLO. But the other political faction is their right. We did not ask any political faction in Israel to recognize the two-state solution. Many of them, even those political faction in Israel, did not recognize or did not believe that we are existing. So this is their right. When we talk about agreement, peace agreement, it should be signed by the governments, by the legitimate representative of the country, which is the government of Israel and the PLO itself. When it came to Hamas or other political faction, it's pure, it's completely their right to deny or to tell anything they want about Israel. This is their right. Likewise, the other Israeli political faction, they have the full right to talk about how did they portray the Palestinian or the Palestinian Liberation Organization. So that again, when it came to the signed solution, it should be with the Palestinian Liberation Organization, which is the sole and the legitimate representative of the Palestinian. Other political faction did mean nothing by the end of the day when there is an assigned. Many of the Arab country whom is signing the normalization and or the peace process with Israel, many of their political faction are against this. But by the end of the day, the country itself, the government itself, the state itself already signed it, which became implemented. Which means that we, and when it came to the politics, we have the legitimate or the mandatory power that can sign on behalf of us. Otherwise, but when it came to the people themselves, they have the full right to express their opinion regarding the others.
So now I wanted to speak to the excerpt I read to you on the part that the Palestinians would refuse to recognize Israel as a state, and this is a major drawback in actualizing this two-state solution. So what are your thoughts on this?
No, I said the Palestinian Liberation Organization in 1993, Chairman Arafat, and the signatory at that time is President Abbas, the current president of he was signed the Oslo Accord. In Oslo Accord, we recognize the right of Israel to exist.
Okay.
It's 31 years ago. This is not something we should not discuss something that already we signed it and we already recognize their right to exist.
Very well done. So now, at this point now, in order for us to get to that point where we save the lives of civilians, we save the innocent lives of Palestinians, because of course they deserve they have the right to life, and cut down on the destruction of properties, and end the humanitarian crisis right now. Aside the two-state solutions, are there any other form of resolutions that the Palestinians would be willing to explore in order to bring about a lasting peace between both countries?
Dismantling the apartheid. The current Israeli regime is an apartheid regime. This is according to Beit Salem NGO, Israeli NGO. This is according to the many very respectful watchdog around the world. This is an apartheid regime that or Israel is practicing the apartheid. According to us, according to Nigeria, according to the United States of America, according to everyone all around the world, the only resolution on the table is the two-state solution itself. We should and we will continue to push for the two-state solution.
So what you're saying in essence now is that any other suggestion on the table aside the two-state solution will not be taken.
No, we have did anyone offer us any other suggestion except Israel? Israel is offering us only the occupation and the apartheid regime.
But then the Palestinians are also a party in the ongoing war because on one part there is Israel, on the other part there is Palestine. Are there solutions that the Palestinians have brought to the table that, okay, since the two-state solution doesn't seem to be working, it has been brought to the table for over 75 years now. It doesn't seem to be working, and it's not looking like it's close to actualization. Have the Palestinians brought any suggestion to the table and say, okay, since the two-state solution is not working, how about we try this?
We are talking about dismantling the apartheid, that I'm pretty sure the upcoming generation, I'm from the old generation who's believed and fought a lot and will continue to fight for the two-state solution, to implement and to embody the two-state solution. But the new generation a new generation in Palestine is talking about a one-state solution, dismantling the apartheid, full civilian and political right. I'm not pretty sure, but according to us today, who is leading the Palestinian people, no, we still insist on the two-state solution and will continue to do so. This is the only solution that acceptable from all around the world except the Israeli occupation.
So why do you think the Israeli government are opposed to the two-state solution? Meanwhile, the same Israeli government are signatory to.
No, it's not the same Israeli government. It's Rabin government at that time, and who's signing this.
But then, why do you think
they killed them? The current government
led by Benjamin Netanyahu right now are heavily opposed to the two-state solution since it promises to bring a lasting solution between both countries?
No, Benjamin Netanyahu did not promise at all to put a lasting solution. He is from the school that is trying to manage and will continue to manage the conflict, not to put an end to the conflict. Even when you say that the same exact government, no, the government that signed the Oslo Accord is Rabin government. And Rabin was killed, assassinated by this current fanatic and messianic government. I mean, by the incitement by those people, especially Benjamin Netanyahu, Smotrich, and Ben-Gvir themselves. Three of them was heavily inciting against Rabin at that time, and he was assassinated according to their one of them was arrested, and Ben-Gvir was arrested and accused of terrorist acts.
Terrorism acts?
Yes.
All right then, our time is far spent at this moment now, but I just want us to take one final look at the effort between the United States and the European Union in their attempt to help douse the tension between the two countries, Israel and Palestine. Do you see this effort as genuine enough, or it's more like another political gameplay?
I think it's an unjust gameplay. If the United States of America, which is the key player of that,
so
they want to put an end
point us to the fact that it's just another political gameplay between the EU and the
let us concentrate on the United States of America, because the EU, they have another.
No, but we cannot leave the EU. We cannot leave.
They have at least many of those EU countries have a very good and will respect. Political position to
okay, so you think this is majorly another political gameplay by the United States
of America? Yes, so it's not. You did not need to be a clever political commentator to know that. As I told you 5 times, they used in the last 6 months. 5 times they used the veto power to block any resolution for at least ceasefire, temporary ceasefire. They use the veto for 5 times.
So now that you've established that the United States have used their veto power to 5 times to block any
just in the last 6 months, but more than 80 times. They used it during the history to block
the history.
Yes, more than
of the war between Israel.
No, during the history. Maybe I mean, since the establishment of the Security Council itself, they used it. 95%. Some statistics talking about 95% of the veto power used by the United States of America in favor of Israel and against the Palestinian and the Arab countries.
So right now, what now is the fate of Palestinians back home? What is the fate of your people back home? Because our time is far spent. What is the true situation of? I believe you still have families back
in Gaza. Yes, my family, my entire family in Gaza.
In Gaza, what is the true situation of things as we'll be rounding up the show?
When I succeed sometimes to communicate with my nephews.
So how often do you
through the WhatsApp? Sometimes we succeed to have.
When you say sometimes, is it that the communication networks have been?
Yeah, we have a lot of problem.
Okay.
They cut mainly Israel cut the internet. And
so how often are you able to communicate with?
Every 2 to 3 days.
Okay.
And sometimes I stayed 10 days, 11 days. One of the time I stayed 11 days without connection with my family there in Gaza. With my nephews.
That's quite huge. And on a final note now, is there anything you want to say to the world? Because I believe the world is watching you right now. And what is more important to everybody now is a lasting peace. An end to the destruction of lives and properties, an end to starvation, an end to
killing, the massacres,
to death of infants. So what will be your final note on the show today?
No, I would like to appeal to everyone here in Nigeria and Africa, and anyone is listening to us. Let us all the time uphold. Let us push for implementing the international law. If we all stick to the international law, if we all stand firm to uphold the international law, this will not save only the Palestinian people, but even this will save you in Africa and the South, in any other place in the world. Let us push also to make sure that we are all a human being, we are equivalent, we are born as a human being, we are born equal in dignity and rights. If this is the case, we have the full right to establish our state, we have the full right to be independent, to have our independent state. And to do so, the international community should stop treating Israel as the grumpy and spoily teenager.
Thank you very much for your time. It has been a very insightful. The conversation with you has been quite insightful, and we hope to have you back on the show some other time again. Once again, thank you
Thank you so much.
your time. And this is where we draw the curtain on today's episode of the program. Do well to join us again, same time, same station tomorrow. My name is Francis Adeniyi. Have a nice day.